What is up, everybody? We have, and I say we because I have Jim to my right, we have 10 minutes to talk about, and I can't believe we haven't talked about it. How has this happened? What has the world come to? The 30-06. Yes, welcome back to one of our Cartridge Talks with the Ryan Muckenhirn sitting across from us right now. Ryan, this thing is, I mean, I guess we've talked about it in other capacities, other places, other podcasts. We kind of deemed it
the 100th episode.
The 100th episode.
We talked about it.
We kind of deemed it was America's Cartridge in another debate type topic. But now we're distilling it down. We're focused into this 10-minute talk, 9 minutes 30 seconds about right now. Ryan, tell us about the iconic 30-06.
The year was 1906. Technically, the year was 1903. And then later on, it became 1906, 3 years later.
That's where the 06 comes from.
Correct, yeah. Refined version of a former cartridge, the 3003. We have the 30-06.
Is the 03 from, that's...
1903.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. What did they do in 1903 that they were like, no, you know what? 3 years later, we'll change it.
New bullet profile, a little bit of case dimension change, mostly the bullet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we went from like a round nose to a Spitzer type. And
got it. They were still stuck in their old ways back in 03. Where
Oh, yeah.
Like, round nose is the way.
Yep.
It's like VHS.
Yeah.
Nobody will ever come out with anything better than that.
There is a subset of people listening to this right
there's-
now that have no idea about VHS. That's crazy.
Yeah, you're right.
That's crazy.
It's true.
Okay, there's something different than VHS?
Yeah.
Oh,
We'll
okay.
show it to you sometime. I don't know. You
So-
haven't been to Blockbuster in a while, have you?
Ryan, do you know, kind of the round nose versus the Spitzer, was that they didn't have the capability to do that style of bullet yet, or they just hadn't figured out that was like a better option?
Spitzer profile bullets were very new on the scene.
Okay.
Very.
So hot in 06.
So hot. And so, like, this was the modern evolution of,
Yeah.
of the projectile. So,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, we're talking everything from, like, the way that bullets are made to metallurgy to, I mean, the whole gambit
Yeah.
changed. Like, took the cartridge to a whole nother level. And then, more rifles.
Right.
Yeah.
And so 30-06 has been, I don't know if from its very onset, because I actually can't think of anything really notable aside, because I'm not a cartridge encyclopedia like you. But when I think back on it, I'm like, okay, the World Wars
Yeah.
are really where the 30-06 got a lot of its gumption, if you will.
Yeah.
But prior to that, was it just kicking butt and taking names in terms of other cartridges, or
It was a government cartridge before it was anything else. So
all right.
Yeah, in the name, 30-06 government.
True.
Like it was a military cartridge.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then probably
Some
a lot
good-
of its popularity came after the wars, where guys like, well, I got one of these, or I've shot one of these, and it
Yeah.
worked.
And it was like, boom.
Some good things actually do come from the government
In fact,
sometimes.
it was a different government back then.
True.
It's a very different country. So it was a cartridge of war and work before it was anything else.
Now, do you know, so in my readings, it sounds like it was used in machine guns and bolt-action rifles.
Yep.
Was that crossover, I guess, intentional, so they could be like, hey, we've got kind of one kind of ammo we have to make, it's going to work in everything?
So at the time, there really was very few cartridges, period.
Okay.
So we're looking at and not getting into some interesting specifics like 32 ACP or, 38 special, things like this. But there was 30-06, 45 ACP, 38 special. I said I wasn't going to do it, but I did it. And then 50 Browning machine gun.
Okay.
And then that was your palette, that was your gambit of cartridges available. And so for the belt-fed Browning machine gun, 30-06, the 1903 Springfield, the 1917 Remington Enfield, and then later on the M1 Garand, that was your 30-06 loadout. And those were the infantry rifles.
Simpler times.
I know, right? Simpler time. You didn't have to think so much about, is this one in 6.85, 7? Is it 8? It just was what it was.
And then there was a couple other...
And it worked.
Yeah. There was a couple other rifles that existed within that time frame that saw some extremely limited military use, and even some in some different cartridges, but for the most part, 30-06 stuck. And then the rifles that we're familiar with, like the 1903, less familiar with the 1917, and then the M1 Garand.
Okay.
Had we not been through 2 world wars, do you think the 30-06 would be what it has become?
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it was used so prolifically.
Yep.
There's so many rifles chambered in it.
Yep.
I mean, so many people got probably good at making it, all that stuff. And then all these other cartridges that we know and see today started being, they were little deviants of it, if you will. Deviant's probably the wrong word, but
Variations
of it.
I knew where your head was at.
Yes.
Yeah.
Deviations.
Yes.
Deviant deviations.
Deviant deviations.
We would not have cartridges like the 270 Winchester, the 280 Remington, the 25-06, the 338-06, the 35 Whelen, and then maybe a little bit bigger stretch, the 308 Winchester, the 7mm 08, the 358, the 243, the 260.
Right. And then if you want to go an even bigger stretch,
Yeah.
you say all the ones that came off of those.
Yeah.
Right?
So in
It's like a
so many
cartridge
ways,
family tree.
this is the trunk of that great tree, that cartridge family tree Mark's talking about, and then from it branches many fabulous things.
Ryan, let me ask you this though.
Yeah.
All those cartridges that you just listed.
Yep.
Spouted off. What are they doing that the 30-06 can't?
Usually just picking up velocity in BC.
Okay.
You get an advantage there. So if we neck it down, obviously we've been over this in a lot of different podcasts. We can
Neck it down, make it better.
Yep, you can make it go faster. But so like I have a 338-06, which is just an 06 that's been opened up to accept a 33 caliber bullet. It doesn't really give anything up in speed, and actually just kind of adds horsepower, and in similar bullet weights adds speed. It's an interesting thing.
Huh.
Yeah. So like if I shoot a 180 out of my 338-06, I can push it faster than I can push a 180 out of my 30-06.
Oh, okay.
Right, because you're taking up more case capacity with the 30-06 and a 180.
Yes.
It's a longer bullet.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
I'm losing sectional density, and I'm losing ballistic coefficient. I'm trading it for a little bit of muzzle velocity and some, cross section, some frontal, frontal space. But it is really quite an endearing cartridge, and after all this time, has not really let up. We just held our hunter sight in last week here at Vortex, and we had a little over 300 shooters come through, and the number of 30-06 cases hitting the ground was incredible.
What would you say, like percentage-wise, of folks rolling through the door with their deer rifle having to be a 30-06?
Gross majority.
Yeah.
And bringing it to today as well, the 30-06, I think sometimes gets a little bit of a wrong, misconception around it.
Like,
that it's just kind of like, it's kind of just, daddy's deer rifle. It's not that accurate. It's almost like,
it was good for back then.
yeah, good, exactly.
We
Good
got
for
modern
back,
stuff now.
Yeah, like it's some old 50s pickup truck, and it's, now we got computer screens and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just...
Unfounded.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, so the case design is what speaks to me the most. Like, it is such a useful case. It is not excessive in any way, shape, or form, nor is it underwhelming. It is just remarkably ideal for the caliber and for the bullet weights that it fires. We can make some arguments towards a 308 as being darn near ballistic equivalent, but there still is an advantage to the 06, especially when we're working into heavier weight bullets. And then when you combine this with phenomenal bullet technology and incredible powder technology, and then modern sport optics and really good rifles, you give nothing up for like the global hunter. I mean, you afford yourself little to nothing to jump up to, say, a 300 Win Mag, except for recoil and a little bit more horsepower. This load is a 180 GMX, so this is like a bonkers tough bullet. So it's a gilding metal alloy, homogeneous bullet design. This is like elk, moose, caribou, not ideal for grizzly, but would probably do it in a pinch. Any plains game. It's a 180 grain projectile at 2820. Like, that's cooking, and it's packing a lot of punch because it is a very strong bullet. This is a bullet I would be confident with to any distance that I would shoot any cartridge, hunting game.
Yep.
I think it's awesome. Several years ago, Mark and I set out with a really lightweight mountain rifle from Kimber that we have here at the shop, a Mountain Ascent. I mean, absolute flyweight of a gun, a little over 5 pounds.
Had a break on it.
Yeah, had a break on it. We were shooting the 178 ELDXs out of that gun. And what did you use that for?
I was going on a Idaho black bear hunt in spring.
And we did the numbers on it. And with the BC of that projectile, at the muzzle velocity that it was shooting, it was emulating a 300 Win Mag with a 180 grain soft point, like to the inch. Yes, and it was doing it in a smaller, lighter recoiling rifle. And that thing is just, it's a famous rifle around here. Paul Neese killed a great bull moose with it in Alaska last year. And it carries like a dream. I mean, it's such a good cartridge, so well balanced. It's not too much. It's certainly not too little in any stretch of the imagination. It is such a wonderful cartridge.
That was an eye-opening experiment, but exercise that we did, just getting that gun dialed and with that load and chronoing it and kind of looking at your drops, and you kind of scratch your head a little bit and go, huh.
Yep. And to your point, and to Jim's point earlier, a lot of people do have this stigma surrounding the cartridge that it is somehow anemic and antiquated.
Right.
When
inefficient.
Just
misconceptions.
Yes. When in all reality, it has lost nothing and has probably gained more for me personally in the past decade than almost any other cartridge. The more I hunt and the more I shoot, the more I ask myself, like, why don't I only shoot this?
Yeah.
Right.
And this goes back to something that we've talked about before. We talked about it in the 6.5 Revolution podcast, but, there's a lot of innovation for just innovation's sake, just the sake of making new stuff. And now, do I think that maybe some of the troops in World War II would have enjoyed having today's modern AR-15 shooting 5.56, carrying a lot more ammo and a lot less heavy package than a M1 Garand? Maybe. Maybe not also, because the M1 Garand, I don't want to take anything away from that. But
don't get yourself in hot water, Jim.
No. What did I already say one time? Somebody thinks,
You hate 1911s.
All right. Okay. But
thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, no problem.
But I mean, you look at this thing, and it's just like you ask somebody to just generically draw a cartridge on a piece of paper, and they pretty much draw this because it's dimensionally and scale wise and all that stuff. It just works.
Yep.
Let's touch real quick on bullet selection, Ryan.
Yo.
Let's go small to big.
I have fired the smallest projectile, a 110 grain VMAX. The largest projectile, a 240 grain Sierra Match King. And everything in between. Not everything, obviously. There's hundreds of different bullet options. But my favorites are the 130 grain Barnes TTSX.
130s?
Yeah.
Ooh, what's that thing cooking at,
32 and change.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it's spicy.
That is spicy.
And then I've come into big favor for the 178 grain Barnes LRX out of that. So that's the current load that I'm shooting in that gun.
So one of those is a solid copper bullet?
Both.
Oh, both of them?
Yep.
Okay, got it.
Yep. So
I didn't realize the LRX was.
Yeah, so it's their high BC, potentially lower velocity threshold expanding solid copper bullet.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is funny because I still don't shoot them farther than like 550 yards. Like that's as far as I'll go with kind of anything. But they both do very different
Personal
things.
limitations?
Yep, correct. They both do different things. I really like the 130s because I can flatten that trajectory like crazy. And I'm carving out a lot of drop from the drop chart and just this real nice recoiling, flat, great for western species like pronghorn and mule deer. I've killed whitetails with it too. The 178s, they just happen to shoot really good in my gun.
Okay.
Yeah. I said 178s, 175. They shoot really good in my gun. The 178 ELDX, though, from Hornady is another real surprising one too. And the factory loaded option out of that Kimber, for instance, was so flat and so nice to shoot for how heavy that bullet was and how high BC that bullet was, that was a deadly combination. And again, it took a moose. Did you kill a bear with it?
I didn't, no.
Okay. Great cartridge, great bullets, options. I mean, the 30 caliber pallet is huge, and you can get everything from, fast expanding varmint type bullets like that 110 VMAX all the way up to heavy bonded or homogeneous bolt designs that are great for moose, elk, bears.
I mean, we've said it before, I think. If we haven't said it before, we should say it now. But somebody asks about a gun that they can do literally everything with.
Yep.
Almost literally everything with. It's the 30-06.
Yep. Nothing much that a man can't fix for $700 in a 30-06.
Gosh, ain't that the truth?
Truer words never spoken. My first two deer rifles, I've said this before, were .6s, and then kind of like these better, faster, stronger things. The Modern Gentleman's 30-06 came out. But I've like kind of drifted away with it. It's like, oh yeah, 300 short, 6.5 Creed, maybe this. I mean, I don't have a ton of rifles, but the more, like you said, Ryan, modern propellants, modern projectiles, it's like I'm almost like drifting back. Like, why don't I just get another 30 or why don't I just start shooting or build a different 30 whatever? You know what I mean? Like, it's just
the pendulum swings, man.
Mm-hmm. Back and
At
forth.
the end of the day, it just comes to a nice rest right in the middle.
Right in the middle. What about aren't there like some 22 options as well? What's going on there?
That's some Wildcat stuff. I mean, so this.
But I mean, can't you shoot a 22 projectile out of
you're
a 30?
thinking, Remington accelerators.
Yeah.
My buddy's first coyote gun was a Savage 110 30-06 shooting 55 grain Remington accelerators. So there's a sabot put around the projectile.
That's what it is.
Loaded in there. And you want to talk about something that looks like it was out of some sort of future space movie or Terminator or something, is a Remington accelerator load. And Remington did this in a number of different cartridges. And I think 30, 308, 30-06. I don't think they did a 300 Win Mag. That would be heinous. But yeah, a plastic, effectively wad, we'll call it that, sabot, encapsulating a 55 grain 22 caliber projectile.
Sounds cool.
Light speed, horrible accuracy.
I was going to say accuracy, question mark?
Absolute garbage, at least out of that gun. But it actually was pretty effective. If you get a coyote inside 150 yards, it was a very dead coyote in short order. Almost no recoil to speak of. It was very pleasant to shoot, very loud. But it worked. You can still buy the little accelerator sabots, and you can load your own if you want.
It feels good doing something with a 30-06. I don't know,
It does. It does.
It's got more soul.
I shame myself every year I don't take it out. I was thinking about this because Wisconsin's firearms deer opener's coming up. I'm thinking about hunting deer in Wisconsin this year, and I'm probably going to grab that
I don't know why we were talking about this the other week.
I have a problem.
The correct answer is yes. Go.
Well,
okay.
All right. We've successfully taken up, as usual, more than our allotted 10 minutes. But being that this is a holiday special, that's what this is, right, Mark?
Yeah, this is part of the holiday Cartridge Talk special.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, everybody. You've been asking for a very long time for this, so
here it is.
Here it is.
It has begun. Right. I had one more question.
Oh. You like to push that 20 minutes, Mark.
It's the holidays. People love to talk. Ryan,
okay.
you're gonna build. This is about family and cartridges, Ryan.
Okay, all right.
Or Jim, you're gonna build a custom rifle. Maybe like AG composite stock, Manor stock, McMillan, something like that. Action of your choice. Barrel of your choice. Maybe a proof carbon. Maybe something else. Do you build it in 30-06?
My first custom rifle is chambered in 30-06 Springfield. It wears an AG Composites Privateer carbon fiber stock. This has changed over the years. Had an HS Precision. Now it wears that.
This is information that I didn't even bait him into that, Jim. I didn't even know that.
Jim's carried that rifle.
What?
Yeah. When we did that holiday doe hunt.
Oh, that was that gun.
Yeah.
That's a nice gun.
It's real lightweight, mild-mannered, shoots very good.
Holiday doe hunts, holiday cartridges. It's the holidays, everybody. Happy holidays. We're going to close this one out, Jim, right just sub 20 minutes. So I think it still counts as a 10-minute talk. Thanks, everybody, for listening. And look forward to the next one.
See ya.
Bye, guys.